Nice. Our beloved John Dumas and also Robin Miller are doing, it was mentioned already, but a Mystic Journey concert. So that's this Wednesday, the 15th, 6 to 8. So join if you can. Robin Miller, boy, that takes me way back. I mean, one of my favorite CDs was this Magical Spheres. I played it all the time. He's probably tired of me saying, oh my God, Robin, Magical Spheres. It was in my late 20s, I think, that I found that when it came out. It was, some of you won't understand, there were these things called cassette tapes. And it was on a cassette tape and then eventually CDs. But he'll be doing that concert with John, so we're really very pleased to have them. What would you like me to talk about today? What topics are dear to you? Just a few.
Beauty of Mother Earth.
Eh?
Beauty of Mother Earth. Physical health.
Of the Dead Sea Scrolls of the Egyptian, there's the Ten Commandments that were given in the Egyptian Book of the Dead 700 years before Moses gave it to the Israelites. 700 years, and that's in their Anakims.
Yeah, I get it. Before you, somebody said something over there?
Physical health.
What? Again?
Physical health.
Health. And what was the other one, somebody?
Integrity. Rising.
Okay, that's good.
Joy.
To the world the Lord is come. I'll try to do something on the Ten Commandments in the next week or two so that we can go more fully into that. I mean, even that topic, like how it's thought and how it really is. People perceive things through their own lenses. When the Ten Commandments were given, these were guidelines for living, and there's so much depth to them. There's right brain activation, left brain activation. There's so much more than meets the eye, much more than Charlton Heston told you. What a funny, those movies, by God, that dramatic kind of, by God, Pharaoh, that whole Moses, that everybody just, but,
King Ramsey the second.
yeah, Ramses, so let it be written, so let it be done. Yul Brynner, man, most handsome man I've ever seen in my life, but we won't go there right now. It's just, what a great just presence. God, I mean, he just, beautiful being. So we'll talk about that maybe in the next week or two so that we can give it more full attention. But on the topics shared, quite diverse and so forth, from health to feminine rising to joy and so on. Joy, happiness, prosperity, these are spiritual concepts. There's divine concepts, like joy is an aspect of God. Happiness is like, that's more human. You follow? Joy and then happiness. Some of us haven't even tasted happiness, so it's enough for us to say, one of my goals is to feel happiness. But some of us can say, hey, you know what? I'm going full on, man. Joy, the joy of God, the peace of God, the bliss of God. Those are more divine feelings. Bless you times 10. Okay? So ultimately, it's to feel as God feels. There is no actual appearance of God. You're made in my image. It's not appearance. It's you're made in my image means you have my consciousness, which includes, again, the consciousness is here and then it brings a feeling. So in a sense, go seek first the consciousness of heaven, seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest follows. That's what it means. Seek the consciousness of God, and then in comes the health, the integrity, the joy, and so on. You can't not have those other things if you have the consciousness of God. But to some people, it's like, well, wow, that's just way too big for my mind. So they'd rather start off, I just want to get a little happier, a little more prosperity, etc. Rather than abundance, cash. And those are baby steps, and it's start wherever you are. But don't ever think that you're undeserving of the grand, scheme, the grand consciousness, the consciousness of God. And one of the things that spoils these things, well, why don't I have more prosperity? Why don't I have more health? It's not to shame you for these, but I'm saying if you have the consciousness of God, you can't not pay a check or pay a bill. If you have the consciousness of God, you wouldn't not feel joy. It's impossible to be in the presence, consciousness of God and have human struggles. Totally one with God. And then I have my arthritic knee. No, what happens in the light of God, everything else dissipates. But why isn't it happening? Am I bad? No, no, no. You're human. To err is human, to forgive divine. So don't worry about it. Look at the arthritic knee and say, isn't that funny? That I'm this and what the heck? Just learn to laugh at it because it's not true. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Yes. Learn to know the truth of God, but play the game for now. Respect the illusion. Put some ointment on the knee. But ointment's an illusion and so is your knee. Then why do it? Because you believe you have a knee and you believe ointment helps. So play the game. Still pay your bills. No, but I'm one with God. Still pay your bills. They don't want to hear it. Your collectors don't want to hear it. One with God. Whatever. But the truth is you are one with God. And I don't care if you're on your deathbed, know the truth. Despite what seems to be happening, what do you think Jesus did? Despite what seems to be happening, and he told those around him, don't believe what you see. Oh, Jesus, crucifixion. Oh my God, look what they've done to you. Shh, it's okay. I'm playing the game. Just wait. I've got a surprise for you. And they're going, where's the surprise? I mean, he's gone now. Did we miss it? And they're all analyzing it. Maybe he said some magical words. Maybe, and he's gone. 3 days later, boom, psych. Boom. I appeared dead, but I'm not. Everybody says you can't overcome death. He becomes this person that says, I so see through the illusion that I can't die. And you will do all the things I've done and even more. You've got to be kidding. I mean, we're trying to fix that knee. It's all for now. This is the game. This is what happens when we believe in separation. It's a funny concept because here's a word for you all. Do you all believe in karma? It's kind of a common word, right? Okay, we've heard that. That's cool. Answer me this. Riddle me this, Batman. Do you believe in sin?
You reap what you sow.
Yeah, more or less. Do you believe in sin? Look how you hesitate. You're like, this has got to be a trick question. He's going to turn this back on us somehow. Most people in the spiritual and New Age community, oh man, that's old school. Sin. How do you believe in karma and not sin? They're the same thing. They mean, I missed the mark, I blew it, I made a mistake, and I'm going to suffer for it in some way. It's called karma. Yeah, it's true. I know when I do some really heavy things, it's probably karma. But why not sin? Well, it's the way it's presented. Sinner! Thou hast sinned. You're going to hell. I'm sorry, man, but it's the same as karma. When you're paying for karma, that's still called hell. What do you think that eternal damnation is? Damn. It's because everybody that goes through it says damn a lot. That's what eternal damnation is. Damn, I can't believe that, man. I'm back with this person again? I've married them 5 times in 5 different lives. When am I going to get it? You can't get it because you're a sinner. I don't like that. It's just your karma. Oh, that's okay then. It's just so weird. They're the same thing. But I agree with you. The way it's presented is off. Because karma sounds so neutral. It's very objective. But sin sounds like someone's after me and I'm being punished. But isn't meant to sound that way. It's just the way people project it. Sin, oh my God, the wages of sin are death. You're a sinner, okay. Well, technically, I am. Well, how do I know that? Is that bad to own that? No, listen, it just means mistakes. If you go 1 mile over the speed limit, you're sinning. Consciously or unconsciously, you're sinning. How do I say that? Because you're making a mistake. Is it bad? Is it heavy? Is it damnation? Is there a special hell for speeders? Wherever it's called roundabouts. I had to throw that in there. There's not really a hell in the center of the earth, guys. Hell is, Edgar Casey said, hell is any place where you don't feel the presence of God, which is today, this minute, when I make a mistake. In that moment, when you drop something on your foot, you make a mistake. Ow! You're not feeling God, you're feeling pain. Pain is hell. Hell is pain. So this concept, what is original sin? It's not just the belief that we separated from God and from each other and even from ourselves. We're all disjointed. You seem to be sitting there, I seem to be standing here. And then as I'm standing here, there's an emotional self, an intellectual self. There's all these sub-levels. In God, it's just lists. So we seem to have separated. And then the separation multiplies. It's exponentially, it multiplies. Endlessly, like a fractal geometry concept. It just keeps self-perpetuating. However, the reason it becomes something after we think the thought of separation is actually the guilt we feel afterwards. So sin only kicks in, karma only kicks in when you feel guilt. I don't mean conscious guilt, because sociopaths can say, I don't feel that, so I must be blissed out. No. On some level, your soul knows when you're off. So I'm going to define sin as this. And again, all these comments you're asking about are, in a sense, related. Why the health issues? Why the whatever issues? All of it comes from somewhere in our being we believe that we are not the Christ. We have forgotten our identity. With that comes some guilt and shame. With the guilt and shame comes the punishment that we inflict on ourselves. The solution is forgiveness. So think about this. This is great. We commit something, we then feel guilty for it. What is going to cure guilt, shame, judgment? Forgiveness. So what if I don't remember what I did to cause this health or financial or whatever other? You don't have to know. We're so spoiled that God says you don't even have to know. Only own that if you're not feeling peace in mind, body, and soul, finances, and every other level, if somewhere in your life you're not feeling peace, rest assured something's gone wrong somewhere. With who? Probably you. But I don't remember it. Ignorance is no escape from the law. Look, please rest. Rest and just own it. I can't. I refuse to own it. See, that's not God talking. If I'm willing to own it, release it, replace it with God, that thing that was sin has now brought me home. I used it to take me home rather than to keep me ashamed and separate. Be at peace. The prodigal son story. It's okay. Oh my God, I just know that when I go home, I'm gonna get punished. Well, try it. See what happens. Usually, 90-something% of the time when you say, okay, fine, I'm going to try this experiment here, this exercise, financial or physical, or in some way I'm feeling off, emotionally I feel off. Somewhere this came from me believing that either I or someone else around me is less than God created them to be. I don't even remember where I did it. Who, what, doesn't matter. Someone somewhere got judged as being less than holy. These are the likely results. So I'm giving the results to you, God, but I'm also giving you what else? The cause, my beliefs, wherever they are, I don't care. I'm giving it all to you as unconditionally as possible. And I ask for you to replace it with your presence. And whoever I judged out there, don't know who they are, I bless them with this presence as well. And me who did the judgment, I bless myself. So God, myself, and others, all in a state of holiness. And so it is. And you leave it at that. You're going to notice a shift. It's called a miracle. You're going to notice a shift. Well, why? I didn't even know who I was forgiving. Listen, control freak, you don't need to know who it was. Just do it. Well, if I don't know for sure who it was, how do I, what? Quantify it, qualify it? How do you, we don't need your opinion. We only need your willingness.
You don't have to forgive anyone that hasn't repented to God first. Whoa, that's scripture.
Only one of us is talking today. If you have anything else to share, go out in the parking lot and talk to yourself. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
I'm a witness, right?
Don't interrupt.
I'm just a witness.
You're just whatever you are, but don't interrupt. Okay?
Continue.
Promise.
I'm watching.
No more interrupting. Thanks. So even people that are messed up in your life, put them in their place, stand your ground. Because people make mistakes. Always be willing to forgive. You can say no and still forgive. You still have to forgive, and if you don't do it today, it's going to be tomorrow. The abuser in your life, past, present, or eventual, it's the same job. Judge them as helpless, hopeless. Judge them as too far gone, and you sink with them. Okay? That's not where you need to go. Holiness. How do I get back to holiness? And you'll be tested by individuals or groups, concepts, judgments, whatever the things are, the news. It's going to be tempting you. And your job is to hold this place, this center. You know, and be a good example to others. Demonstrate, like you've seen me do. Demonstrate. It's okay to say no and yes in the right moments. But if you allow your family unit to go off, your business place to go off, your friendships, your partnerships, your children, whomever, wherever, however, if you allow it to go off, you have to own that you're actually enabling this, and in enabling, you're actually co-creating a problem that will bring fruits of itself. You get that? No. I don't care who it is. Oh, but that's my partner, that's my child, I don't want them to get upset with me. You just affirmed something. Sin is an addiction. People are addicted to misery. I don't care what excuses we use. Oh, but I can't because that's my child. Blood, you don't understand, Mom? Michael, because I'm a mommy? No. They're all stories to justify your willingness to allow that consciousness and its fruits, effects in your life. Am I shaming you, wronging you for it? Not at all. Just be willing to come forward. Make sense? Somebody has to, or else the sickness continues. So it's interesting because technically all mistakes are synonymous with the word sin. I mean, sin means missing the mark. It means, okay, mistake. Oops. It isn't the sin that's the problem. It's the guilt and shame that goes with it. Almost inexorably. It's just there. You can't pretend, well, I'm going to block it. It's there. And here's the thing. So what is a sin? Does that mean if I went accidentally, unconsciously 1 mile over the speed limit, I'm going to have some big karmic thing? Maybe not big, but you can't say some things get to fall through the cracks. The law is perfect. If I make a mistake, here it comes, some sort of karma. Well, now you're going to make it heavy, karmic sin. You've done wrong, you've done bad. Correct it. How? What's the word? Forgiveness. So how do I know if I'm sinning? 1 mile over the speed limit. Anytime you steer off, but here's a better way to the litmus test. The further you are away from Christ consciousness, the more you are sinking into sin. Heavy word, I know, but we're just playing with that word today. The further off Christ consciousness, the further into karma. Is that making sense? So what's the solution? Well, to think as God, love, Christ. Easy enough to say, but it also means forgiving. So when I'm forgiving, see, in heaven, forgiveness doesn't happen because there's nothing but bliss. But in a fallen world, in a world where we separate, judge each other, we're slipping into a place that's off, and then we have to practice forgiveness. Okay? For now. There'll be the day where that is erased, but you can't ever get to that moment where forgiveness is no longer needed because everything's bliss again. You can't get to that place without a word called responsibility. If I don't own that I've been off, I can't surrender it and have it replaced with God's presence. When I practice forgiveness of myself and others, I am more like God than in any other time in my life. Even though in God there need not be any forgiveness because God's not judging. But I'm more like God when I practice forgiveness. Because when I practice forgiveness and I let things be restored, forgiveness restores the mistakes into holiness. It erases the stuff. It washes us clear of karma and all that. It's like the symbol of baptism. It's to wash us clean. So when I practice forgiveness and things are restored, I'm actually remembering something else that exists in heaven where forgiveness doesn't, something else that does, that causes you to choose forgiveness. It's called grace. Some people just, I'm calling in the state of grace. You can't. If you don't practice forgiveness, you'll never know grace. Grace is the result of getting the other stuff out of the way. You can't find, it's like the word innocence. In no sense. You know what that means? In no sense. I know sin. I will not sin. There's a part of me that's so innocent, filled with grace, Holy Mother, full of grace. All of us have grace within us. But you have to practice forgiveness to get to it. For now. Eventually, we just are. But for now, if you want joy, forgiveness offers it. Prosperity, forgiveness offers it. Now, you go to an abundance, prosperity, manifest $1 million seminar, they're not going to talk usually about God, usually. They're going to talk about you and empowering you. See, I wouldn't want to hear that. I don't want to be taught to do anything without God. But they're going to talk about how you can manifest more money. Cash in itself, health in itself. You can, come up with some great technique to fix that arthritic knee or whatever else you're doing. Or you can co-create this with God. And I would choose, if I were you, I advise co-create with God. And so I say, I don't have to worry about fear anymore. I was addicted to fear-based thinking and judgment. That cannot restore me to who I am. It can't bring total joy because I'm in my head thinking and making things my way. Pause, come back. Got it. And it's not, I affirm my holiness. You can affirm all you want, but if you're a judgmental person, you're not going anywhere. So you can affirm your holiness, but if I'm holy, how would I behave? Forgiving. You follow what I'm saying? You don't be affirming fifth dimensional consciousness without practicing what it takes to get there. The more I do not act like my Christ self, that's the evidence that I don't believe I am my Christ self. That's why A Course in Miracles will say, teach only love, for that is what you are. It means teach only Christ, for that is what you are. And anytime, and teaching is all your thoughts, words, deeds. It's all that you exude. It shows you what you think about yourself. You see? If you don't set a boundary with people that are abusive, selfish, hurtful, or whatever, it means you don't think you're worth it. If you overly do it, it shows hyperdefensiveness. You see? So every day, I am as God created me. And sometimes I'll forget, so I'm calling on you, Divine Mother, to show me how. You birthed that Christ in me again today. Bring this forward. I die daily, Apostle says, means the old. Even if I accomplished a 0 to 10 scale, a 2 in my Christ behavior, tomorrow a 3, a 4, 5, and keep aspiring to that place. Is that making sense? So don't be afraid of the word sin. I mean, I too sit and think twice about using the word because I know how it triggers. Well, then track that and find out why that triggers you. Clearly, you've got some past lives as a Catholic or some fundamental Christian or somebody's it's all into sin and going to hell. I'm not picking on the group and saying there's people that talk about sin all the time. So you've got some triggers from the past. And some of us are even going to be rebellious Well, I don't believe in this. I'm going to choose what I want in my life. And they go overboard, abusing themselves and others to prove that they're the ones who are in charge, not some invisible power. And the invisible power is just going, oh, you poor thing. Because see, what you're doing is rebellious spirit. And so you're possessed by hatred. And it's going to lead you into decisions that are going to come back as hurtfulness. You might think you're a big shot now, showing the world who you are, who you think you are. You're prosperous, you're wealthy, you've got all the cars and houses. But you're going to come back and you won't have that. Whatever you're attached to, whatever you think is your evidence of your goodness, you're not going to have it because you have to deal with you. So those things will be taken. And it doesn't mean that everybody that has lack is being punished for something like that. I'm just saying that's the direction you will go. So there's this beautiful concept that when I forgive, I'm acting like God. And when I'm acting as God would have me act, I start entering God's consciousness. And all of a sudden, I went from, I forgive that person. Yes, 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 good. Oh, and I forgive myself. This is great. Forgiveness, forgiveness. And then you just feel a shift. You don't know why. You might not even put it together. And you're going an hour later, 5 days later. I don't know why, but I just feel great. You're starting to feel the presence of God as a result of your good work, called forgiveness. Your good work, as people think it, I'm a good Christian. Good work means go and preach to people. That is not what it is. That is not at all what it is. Christ consciousness is completely contrary. It's a complete different story from you preaching, telling people what they should do, think, or whatever. No, it's not. And I struggle with this. I see people all the time. They bring this to me. But we have to do, we have to tell people, your example is the first thing you have to do. How can you tell people about Jesus or Christ or being born again or whatever you believe in? How can you tell them if you're not owning that space? If you're not an example of it? Well, I will tell you this. The more they have to do this, the less they're feeling it here. That's what the old axiom in the Far East, the more you talk, the less you know. And it doesn't mean telling your children, don't touch a hot stove, is evidence of you not knowing something. It's not about you speaking or speaking here. It's about the compensatory kind of vibe behind it. The more I have to push it, prove it. That's why I've said, things like government or religions or things like, the more in intellectuals and academia, the more it has to push its science on you, the less secure it is in its science. The more the politician has to tell you how much they're going to do to change things, show us. Where's the example? Where's the living example? So don't go in that direction of telling people that they're sinful. I wouldn't use that word because it's charged. I don't walk around telling people what you're doing is going to be bad karma. I don't care. I don't really invest too much into people. When somebody calls me, Michael, I've done something horrible, I don't ever go, and have some horrible reaction. Because what happens is that when people think that they're separate from love, they're going to act frightened and do things that are rash. So my attitude is, let me hear and let me help bring you back to that place that you forgot. That's my goal. Not to react to what you say you've done. And I've heard so many things. And still, as a human being, sometimes there's a part of me that's like, whoa, the things I've heard people experience, and so on, the things I've heard, I did this and that. It's heartbreaking to see what humans can and will do. But it's not unpredictable. It's not that much of a surprise, is it? There's a lot of horrible stuff. And you're hearing about it on the news, but not just this week. There's always something. That's why Jesus says, listen, you guys think that the world, the external world, fixing the external world is going to get you anywhere? It's not. You will always have this stuff in a world of separation, fear, and guilt. If you have people living in fear, they're going to act hurtfully and rashly. So what does he tell you? It's the consciousness. Go to seek first the consciousness of God. Don't think that if only I get my family members to be nice and like me, my life's going to turn around for the better. Turn it around and you might see them differently. But if they don't, shift with your shift. Sometimes you say goodbye. because you don't want to show signs of weakness or addiction to hurtful behavior. When you enable, you're actually encouraging it, which means you're co-creating it. So take responsibility. I had a really interesting thing happen recently. I noticed there were a couple of different people that worked sort of peripherally for us, in a sense. Two completely different people. And it's so interesting. One was working for us at different jobs, and we gave each of these people, like, not just a job. Once we saw them and got, nice to meet you, we try to help people. So we gave several jobs to this one and several jobs to that one to help them in their life. You follow? But this is interesting. One is just kind of a, hey man, how's it going? Just really root based, no spirituality known to us. No, they're not a member, they don't attend. It's all just, very more root. And the person might struggle with addiction or something because they had these moments of just flipping out. And then we would try to calm it down and love, and they would be great. Then they'd flip out again. Well, then there's this other person who's, I'm spiritual, I'm this, and all these kudos they give themselves about how evolved they are. Both of these people, during this crazy week, because it's been a really intense week, both of these people flared up. Now, which one is going to practice spirituality? The holy one, the spiritual one, etc.? No. That one actually said, yes, I would love to make amends and heal, and okay, great, and then flipped again and just went into hate. This person, that none of this. And they're texting, oh my God, what have I done? I'm really sorry. I take responsibility. I can see it. Their text was so heartwarming. Not because we needed an apology. That's not really the goal. It's responsibility. It immediately does this. You make room for healing. But what I call psychological and spiritual maturity. There's the one who preaches it that didn't practice it. The one that knows nothing about it that practiced it. You will never know which one it's going to be. You think you know. Our job is to not evaluate either way, but just neutrally, objectively, love them all and hold in your mind they're all coming home in some way, shape, or form. Do not give up on the one here. Do not give up. If we'd have given up on this one, he's the one that showed up and demonstrated psychological and spiritual healthiness. You follow? Had we given up on him, I would be feeling the guilt and shame of sin because I made a mistake closing the door on someone. And even the other person, there's no way. I refuse to close the door on anyone. Keep the door open, love, but I'm just giving you this story as an analogy. Every day we make mistakes physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it might be. That's called a sin. Well, you don't have to get all intense about the word. But what you can do is say, that's right. I'm told that to sin is to act. What does it mean? It means literally the translation to miss the mark. It means a mistake, right? To miss the mark, you try again. It's a mistake. Take two, take three. Take one didn't work. It's a mistake. You just do it again. So if sin is just to make a mistake or just to miss the mark, but I'm giving you the measuring tool for it, which is it's not just a mistake. How far have I gone out of my Christ or holy or loving self today? That's how you'll know. If I've done that, how can I bounce back? Or if I don't know I've done it, but I see the evidence of it, how can I bounce back? It's an interesting part of, in the Aquarian Gospel, a wonderful book, when Jesus is asked, and some of the teachers that are working with him, and also John the Baptist, some other characters in there, that concept comes up. How do you deal with sin? And one of the main themes in that book was mankind makes the sin, it's up to man to erase it. It's not, well, you just keep screwing up and telling God, fix that for me. You have to take responsibility. And I love the concept that it's not something that's another topic for me to get familiar with. My sinning, my mistakes that I make with my ex, with that conversation, with my decision making, drawing the line with people that are out of line, setting boundaries, all of it. Now put in the context of I'm actually acting outside of holiness, outside of love. You see? Are you being Christy right now? Sounds like a chocolate commercial or something, a little Christy for you today. But, it's like, what if you put it in that context? See, because you can argue that you made no mistake, you didn't do anything wrong, you're not a sinner. But instead, try that. How far out of love, how far out of Christ consciousness? Is this what the Holy Spirit or the Divine Mother would have me do? You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone that's ever been in my life, on any level of my life, that I would say the door isn't open for amends or whatever. I've never felt that way. I tend to, a second chance, a third chance, but that doesn't mean I'm inviting abuse. See? But you say no, sometimes it's just no. And you let them take time to work on themselves and whatever, but you're always affirming this is a child of God, and I affirm that they're going to get it someday. Is it up to me to force it upon them? No. Just hold the consciousness of hope for everybody. When you're asking about things like integrity, we've talked about that word. When you're not in alignment, you're out of integrity. Integrity means this is an integral part of me. I'm in my center. When I act accordance with my center, it's integrity. When I go outside of this, I'm out of integrity. And for some reason, a lot of human beings make this assumption that integrity is just really based on telling the truth or something like that. I just don't feel like I'm in my integrity when I say this or do. It's that, but it's so much bigger. Keep coming back to, am I feeling this is the right Christ-like thing to do? But remember a quote, being Christ-like does not mean you're a doormat. Do not lay yourself down for people to wipe their feet so you can prove that you're spiritual. No. It's okay. Sometimes you're going to pick up the welcome mat and hit him over the head with it because you need to stop doing what you're doing. Oh, and you pretend to be so spiritual. I am as I am. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to, no, not today. There will be a day where you will not have to restrain people that are violent, but that's not here yet. So sometimes you have to restrain them. We learn from A Course in Miracles, this book all about forgiveness and so on, all about this is an illusion, and yet it implies you have to restrain people from causing themselves or others harm. Why, if it's an illusion? Because technically your brother, sister that are causing harm will suffer the consequences of guilt and shame for what they've done, which means if you don't restrain them, they're going to go further off away from God. You're actually helping them spiritually by restraining them. Interesting, yes? So keep these ideas in mind. Center, Christ, consciousness, walking. I call it living the Christ life. It's a title of a talk. I mean, I just loosely used to use that talk. I would tour all over the world, go to centers. My first visit to any spiritual center, they would say, what's your topic going to be? Living the Christ life. Not because I knew what I was going to say, but I just knew that's the first priority. And they're like, okay, wow, okay, living the Christ. And I go in and I'm talking about how to live it, not talk it. Live it, step into it. Love. What does love look like on a day-to-day basis? What does forgiveness look like? And I can give examples of this happened. I slipped and I bounced back. And this happened. I've still been married and had a divorce years ago. And we're still great friends because living the Christ life, I have to, you have to, we all, integrity-wise, can we stop at the end of the day and say, I am living it? Or are you preaching it? Are you telling your kids, stay away from drugs? Come on. What, are you judging me for smoking? No, you already judged yourself. You're saying something you're not doing. Fine. Then I won't do drugs, but beer doesn't count. You're getting stoned and you're driving a car. It's not advisable. See, but if you say, you sinner, they're going to shut you out. You've lost them. You have to find. I don't even think you can tell them, that's bad karma. And they're going to hear you. Sometimes you're speaking to the mistake, and other times speak to who they really are. However you bridge. Sometimes the bridging is, I used to do that, and I became very uncomfortable with that behavior, and here's what I did. And you're planting seeds. Other times it's firmer, harsher, and other times it's much sweeter. The Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother, is saying, listen, people, you think you're separate. You're actually manifestations of me, but you're not acting like it. But I am the universal mother, so I am the source of all matter, mother. So she says, so when you think hateful thoughts, all I can do is manifest the karma for you so you see yourself and how you look. And it's painful. And then you're like, hey, God, can you fix this pain that's in my life? And I'm like, hello, the mother, hello, this is you. The pain is you. Coming back on yourself. Take responsibility. No, I refuse. And then you fall further and further. She's lovingly, objectively saying, sweetheart, there is but love. Would you like to know what that is and live that way? Yes, I would. And she's so happy for us. She doesn't hate us when we don't. She's just happy when we do. And when she says, honey, would you like to do this? And you say, no. I'm mad at somebody. It's their fault. They're the blame. I should be better looking, but they caused me stress. And I got to find some anti-husband makeup now and, whatever other compensatory kind of beauty creams and whatever. And you're going to find it doesn't work. 3 years after you've taken it, you're going to find out it, causes illnesses, premature aging probably. But the mother is saying, look, honey, I understand this, her gentle voice. I love you. And I'm only showing you so that you can work on yourself. Would you like to come home today? Make decisions that look like this. Not, then don't. And every day we're making decisions, lots and lots of conscious and subconscious decisions. But when I choose selfishness, I have something to say. See? That's not God. God is. There's no have to. It is. But it can speak. And when it speaks, it reflects a place of love and patience rather than insistence to speak or to shame people or wrong. And you're off. As soon as you say them, those people, those, they're ruining the world. Who? Who is it today? Well, Republicans, Democrats, gay, straight, this, that, the other. It's like it never ends. Stop. Instead of engaging, stop and just wait. That's clearly not the voice of God. But if it is, if you ever want to believe the voices that judge and hate in this world, I don't care what they're called politically or socially or whatever, if you actually believe that that's the voice of God, if it's not, why are you listening to it? But if it is the voice of God, I warn you, that's the God you're going to face when you die. You're going to have to manifest. On the other side, they're going to be like, oh, shoot, someone's dying that believes in a vindictive God. Do we have any costumes left? Oh, yeah, a reptilian head. Oh, you're going to have this loving divine being going like, oh, you have really, smoke, quick, fire. You have sinned. You're going to hell. I knew it. And off to hell you go. And they have to make rooms available, quick, fluff up the pillows, Okay, now you live in hell for a while. And then one day, living in hell, you're going to go, I'm just tired of this. And you're going to hear a little voice. Call for Jesus. Call for the mother. But I'm in hell. That's not a good thing. Just do it. Help me, Jesus. Humility. Help me, God. And in comes this elevator. You go walking into the elevator, and you beam up. How high do you get to go? Depends how much love and forgiveness you want to believe in. Honestly, the universe is only matching our consciousness. So shift into limited beliefs, not of things, not of powers, of love. Unlimited love. There is nobody beyond my ability to love. But if they act like it, say no, but don't hate them. You are not beyond my ability to love. And I know there's things on the news that we're hearing, and I'm not dissing you or disbelieving in you. But I know in me, all I can do is, oh, wow, that one got me. I heard this thing on the news or from a person if I watched the news, but it's like, uh-oh, catch it. Oh my God, that pulled me. I can feel it. I was like, I can't believe those. What do they need, the ones that are causing harm? Hatred? That probably won't change them because I think they got plenty. So what do you need to bring them? Something else, love. And I can swear to you it's not easy to do all the time. To return love for hatred, it's not always easy to do. But what you can do is, I've reached my quota. This is as much as I can deal with today, and say no to the rest. Be careful. Enable the hate, the fear, judgment, guilt, shame by adding to it, shaming people, guilting people. Enable it in other people's behavior and in your own behaviors, and you are co-creating it. I would call that an addiction that's gripped you. And I would say, not God help me with my addiction to alcohol, drugs, or whatever. I would say, help me with my judgments. Show me there's another way. And one of the easiest ways to umbrella this all under one consciousness, help me to see this as you see this. If the mother mirrors you, why wouldn't she mirror your prayer as she does everything else? If you believe in low self-worth and she manifests it as physical issues, why wouldn't she also mirror abundance when you start believing in your deservability? Right? Please take a few centering breaths. One of the most profound things we can ever pray for, and how to pray, is to say, I don't know. What is the divine feminine, as one person brought up? What is it? I don't know. God, show me. Anything you're wanting to know, forgiveness, patience, anything. Why not ask that which knows everything, instead of trying to figure it out with your own head? When humans try to manifest divine feminine or whatever else, all it can ever do is swing on a pendulum of extremes that involve judgment and results. Karma of my beliefs. God is in the center, saying, don't buy into the doings or the karmic effects of the doings. Find peace. The ultimate image of the divine feminine is learning to be open to God. The masculine side of us is the doing, often, the thinker and the doing. The feminine in us is the receiving and the channeling. Becoming the presence of the mother, even in this world, is what the ultimate divine feminine looks like or means. Breathe in what made sense for you today. Release anything else. For a half a minute, integrate this into your own being. Feeling. There's nothing wrong with those people who say, I'm a sinner. It's just sad they don't completely understand it. There's no purpose or value in commiserating. There's no value. It's more like, and what would you like to do about it, beloved? Well, if I had a mistake I made, let's have a second take and a third take until I know how to aim for the center of the target, which is my divine self. Can't get there better than in asking God to get you there. Let God be the guide. Show me how. Not to get perfect aim, but how to forgive myself when I miss the mark. That's what it's all about. Forgive. You're not going to get anything perfect all the time. Forgive when you don't. When you forgive, you are as God, and you start not feeling God forgiving you. You're feeling the natural grace, which is the natural result of forgiveness. Sin and hurtfulness has effects, karma. Grace comes from forgiveness. Which would you choose today? Let every note of music enter your being, your body, and imagine that every note is breaking up and dispersing. Like a singer who shatters glass, imagine every note is blip, 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 breaking up some stuff in your body being. In your mind, in your soul, in your beliefs, karma, in your cells. If you're sensitive enough, notice where it starts freeing up inside of you. Your hips, you notice, just relaxed. Your neck, your shoulders, where do you feel it moving? Maybe contact that spot if it feels time and appropriate, within reach and all that. Or maybe you just start moving. Maybe you kind of drop into it and let it unwind. Freedom, freedom, guys, freedom. Demonstrate it through movement. Demonstrate it through free breath. Let your head move around gently, whatever feels right for you. And let it keep picking up and picking up. You might feel compelled to stand, then do it. Move, then do it. For the next couple of minutes, a meditation on movement, freedom. Somewhere in your being, even if you sit still, somewhere in your being, feel freedom coming. Breathing, let that come through. What does it feel like to be free, though? What does that feel like? Is that something that makes you tense in your breathing? Or is there a sound that goes with it? Clap if you feel compelled. No restriction. No constriction. No judgment. Free, 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 free. Free at last. Divine Mother, fill us with your Spirit. Show us we have the right and permission to smile, to have faith, to have hope. If anybody pops into our mind while we're doing this, it's someone that's inhibiting your freedom. See them, give them to God, ask to feel more of the Mother, and start dancing in celebration of having transfused that, transmitted it into something else. transformed it. And if you feel filled with the Spirit is not condescending or hurtful. So smile. Let your hands move in a way that seems to bless people. Love you, love you, love you. Dance it, feel it. In a moment, we'll do our closing prayer, but feel it. Good. Do you still feel guilt and shame when you want to clap your hands or smile? What's that about? Good. One more minute. Stand if you feel open to doing so. Move, clap, feel free, feel open. People all around the world, wherever you are, thank you for joining us. Clapping. Dance and move. Shut your curtains first if you're worried about your neighbors, or you can not worry. Dance. So beautiful. Nice. Good. Now, we'll go a little quieter with the clapping and just move your hands, move your hips, move your shoulders, your arms. Sound it out, shake it out, anything that once inhibited. Out, 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 out. Good, good. And then, preferably eyes closed unless you're lightheaded, hold still. Whether you're sitting or standing, anywhere. Feel what's happening in your body. Her presence. The Shakti, the Mother, moving through as lightness, as love, tingling. I feel your presence, Holy Spirit. God is, I am, we are. Which means God is, I am, I'm holding that I am as God created me. I am love, light. Being God, I am the peace of God. I am the love of God. I am the abundance of God. In your mind's eye, look to anybody who comes to mind. Family members, friends, people in the Middle East, anywhere in the world, known, unknown, past, present, and just say to them in your mind, the God I am, I share with you. And then your own words, the peace I am, the joy I am, the abundance. In your mind, quietly bless them with that presence. Look around the world. Look around the room. peace I am, I share with you. Say it out loud, any words you want to use. The God I am, I share with you. I bless you with all the love I am. I bless you with all the peace I am. I bless you with all the abundance I am. And so it is. Thank you. Just take your time and reintegrate. Did you feel that in your body when it was time to do so? Did you feel that light, that life? Good, 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 good. It's time for, we're going to do our love offering, but before we do, let's extend deep gratitude towards our guest musician today, John Dumas. Thank you. Our love offering. Take your love offering and hold it to your heart. Please be as generous as you can be. And with your love offering, consciousness, blessings. Understand that you bless. You bless with your smile, with your donations. You're always teaching something. Is it love or fear? And when you're sharing those donations, let it come from love. Let it come from a knowingness that you are abundant and you can afford to give and share and give thanks, and it will multiply. The prayer together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. Can anyone share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense or could be the most help to you in your life or people around you? Just a brief, concise statement. How would you summarize? And that includes the meditation. What did you hear? What did you learn? What did you feel? What did you experience? Yes?
I love the part about humility and having the humility to surrender when we don't know and say, I don't know what this is, but I offer it. And
Nice. Humility. And it is beautiful humility to say, I don't know. Like if you have an ache, I don't know where this is coming from. You don't have to try to one-up God and say, listen, you don't have to think about it. I got it figured out. I don't know. That doesn't mean you're dumb. Meaning that ignorant kind of, it means I don't care. Because whatever it is, I'm over it. I'm willing to give this to you. That's a beautiful thing. That's true humility. Okay, yes.
part about rebelling against sin. So
Ah,
I think you're kind of having that put on you when you're younger that you're a sinner, but then the whole rest of your life you're rebelling against that. You
Right.
end up hurting yourself.
very well said. It isn't great that people put that you're a sinner stuff on you. But it didn't help that you tried to rebel and fight those people either. You were then started hurting yourself. You're not a sinner, but yet you are, in the sense that you make mistakes. What did Jesus say? When he says, I died for your sins, picture it this way. Instead of, I died bloody for your sins, picture it this way. Picture Jesus saying, I did an exchange. I traded my consciousness for your judgments on yourself. They're washed clean. Why is that so challenging? When a Christian says to you, do you believe in Jesus Christ? You, well, yes. Do you accept him as, yes. Why would you not? For all they know, they're like, wow, this is cool. You're a Christian, yeah. Join with them, But, sometimes they push for more. Do you admit you're a sinner? You're going to start going, oh, here they go. Oh, here they. But you know what? Just say yes. And in your head go, I know I drive sometimes 2 miles over the speed limit. I know sometimes I get annoyed at people. That's missing the mark. How do I know? Because it's not Christy. That's how I know. Sinner doesn't mean you're bad. It means you made a mistake and thought you were a flawed human being, and you are not. But you thought so. Let's own it and give it up. Replace it with forgiveness, grace. Who else? Yes?
I like how direct, forthright, and clear you were with our morning prayer this morning.
Good. You like the tone we set and setting things clear and setting healthy boundaries. Did you catch that? Yes?
How would you have me see this?
Yes. You know, seriously, guys. Seriously, anything you do, as John Lennon's saying, whatever gets you to the light is all right. It's fine, okay? Stand on one foot, turn your eyes to your third eye, chant and, whatever, boom shakalaka laka, boom shakalaka, whatever turns you on. But you know what? You could do all those fun things. Rattles, crystals, do all of it because it's beautiful. But there's one thing that you could do while you're doing that would take it to another level. Just how would you have me see it? Instead of which prayers of forgiveness, I can't remember the wording. How would you have me see this? Surrender to God, back to the word humility. Surrender to God is the fast track. It gets you right there. You can do all the other stuff to get into a high vibrational self. Yeah, whatever you people are into. Snort peyote, put a copper pyramid hat on your head. Do whatever you think you need. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you can do all of that, have your water bong going, and, every ding. You can do it all. But please, just add one extra thing. How would you have me see this? And at some point, you're going to start laughing. If you happen to see a mirror, especially. But you know what the beauty is of all those things that we can laugh about? The beauty is that's how badly I wanted to remember who I am. That I did all these, stand on one foot, rotate, clockwise, counterclockwise, Sufi dance, all the things we do, snort and sound. And here's the good news. It shows me how badly I really wanted to be home. So I don't need to judge myself for it. Yeah, put the pyramid back on. Go shopping. Go to Home Depot and just watch these guys with tobacco in their tongue. What that guy got? Copper. Hell, man. I wonder what row he found that copper, Because it doesn't matter. You can now laugh. It's not all serious. Copper pyramid from ancient Egypt. Raise my vibrations and help me ascend. And the pyramid's like, dude, I'm just copper. I can't ascend you. But what you can do is, oh my God, look how badly I wanted God. And all I really needed was, be with me and let me see everything through your eyes. And you might take the pyramid off and you might leave it on and laugh. See, because there's no judgment left to it. There's no don't do it. Repent. There's none of that. You just start to say, whatever doesn't feel like this, I think I'm going to let go of now. There's this beautiful parting ways with the unhealthy things. And none of those things are unhealthy, so it's up to you. I like it, I don't like it, it's okay. All righty? Please stand for our closing prayer. And John, thank you for your music today. John does have the table in the foyer sharing his gifts. And he and Robin are going to be doing a concert, so get involved with that if you can this week. I know that the drum he was playing, I really liked, how he can turn things into just magic, That's it's the only larger drum we have in there. We have a couple small native drums, but if you like that sound, if you like that vibe, I'd go get him to bless it real quick first, but if you wanted to buy it, you can. Holding space of gratitude. I just love that we can talk about the Divine Mother in this center. I just love that we invite her into our day-to-day lives. It's not dogmatic. It's no strangeness to it. It's just this is God. And the mother aspect of God. The comforter Jesus spoke of. Thank you, Mother. Thank you. And thank you, Christ, in Jesus and in each of us that is awakening and remembering. Thank you. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.